I'm back! I haven't recorded a video in about 6 weeks, and I'm so excited to be back with you today. Woohoo! Hoo! 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 Voguing. Ha ha! Hey, I'm Jenni from chronicbabe.com, and this is AWAP Wednesday. AWAP stands for As Well As Possible, and in all things, that's what I wish for you, to be as well as possible no matter how sick you are. Yes, I know you can do it. Each week, most weeks I had a little rough spot there. Life of a chronic babe is kind of hard, but usually each week I come to you with my personal favorite tips and techniques for crafting an incredible life beyond illness. So make sure you subscribe right now to our YouTube channel so you never miss a thing. So I have been in the midst of a 6 weeks, maybe even 8 weeks long, really bad flare-up. I mean, probably the worst I've felt since I was initially diagnosed with fibromyalgia almost 20 years ago. There were weeks where I couldn't work, I wasn't socializing, I wasn't bathing regularly, I wasn't making any crafts. Basically, I was not being myself almost at all. I just felt like a crappy blob on the couch. I felt like my life was just falling apart. I was in a total downward spiral, but good thing I'm a chronic babe, because as we chronic babes know, when this happens, when life goes to shit, we've got to take fast action to stop that spiral and take the best care of ourselves, even in times of deep crisis. Luckily, for reasons I'll go into in another video down the road, I am on the upswing again, and I'm so excited to come to you today with 3 of the most essential practices that I use to keep my head above water during this incredible flare-up. Here we go. I've made a couple videos before about sacred practices, which is a practice taught to me by my friend and coach, Jackie Sloan. Now, my sacred practices are a list I've made of all the essential things I must do every day to take the best care of myself, even during my worst flare-up days. My sacred practices include yoga, bathing, meditation, healthy meals and snacks, lots of water, staying in touch with loved ones, and a few other things. Yes, that's right, you heard me right, yoga. So even in my worst days, if I had to space that 20-minute yoga routine into 5-minute chunks with a 15-minute rest break in between each one, I did it. And I think that the fact that I maintained all those sacred practices, even though on some days that was all I was doing. Some days I would do the sacred practices and everything else was like sleeping or crying or lying on the floor. Even though I maintained those sacred practices every day, I feel like I'm coming out of this huge flare-up without having lost a lot of strength or flexibility, and with my spirit kind of intact. I am coming out of it kind of more quickly than I have during flare-ups past, and I think a big part of that is maintaining those sacred practices. When crisis strikes and you feel like everything is falling apart, you may want to hermit. You may want to stop reaching out to people or posting on Facebook or answering your voicemail or returning texts from friends. Don't! I encourage you to stay in touch with your loved ones. Your loved ones, your friends, your family, your colleagues, your neighbors, your partner. These are the people who are going to help keep you afloat during these hardest times. So I really discourage you from cutting off contact from these people. Maybe you can't have your weekly lunch with your BFF. Don't skip texting and calling her though, okay? Maybe your hands hurt too much to hold the phone to do texting and stuff. Well, you can use a headset and call somebody instead. Maybe you're foggy and you're embarrassed and you don't want to come off as a weirdo because you're kind of foggy. Well, I'll tell you what, half my Facebook feed some mornings is my friends bitching about how they're irritable tyrants or space cases because they haven't had their coffee. And I'll tell you what, if those people get to walk around all day and tell me how grumpy they are because they don't get to have coffee, well, then we get to be a little foggy every once in a while. They can handle it. On my worst days during this flare-up, and I mean the worst days, I really felt like my life was kind of over. I mean, it was like I went right back to how I felt almost 20 years ago when I first was getting sick. And it was incredibly scary and incredibly maddening and sad. And I was catastrophizing. And that is the worst because I'm really creative and good at thinking up the worst case scenarios, but then I just get into this like anxiety tornado and spin off with all these crazy ideas about everything that's going to happen that's bad. Now, obviously, that's just my brain doing a thing that it naturally does. I had to kind of make the choice to instead maintain some perspective. This is difficult. This is why I surround myself with people who call me on my shit and make sure that I maintain perspective. That includes my amazing boyfriend who took over chores and kept me going with lots of emotional support. My friends who reminded me that I had felt better in the past and that I would feel better again. I tried to practice gratitude for this beautiful, warm, safe home that I have. You know, so many people on this earth don't have those things. So many of you watching might be lacking one or more of those things. And by maintaining some kind of perspective about what I did have, instead of focusing on what I didn't have, it really kept me from going to the darkest places. Journaling is a great way to maintain this practice. Staying in touch with loved ones who you give permission to call on your baloney is really helpful. They will help you maintain perspective and gratitude during your darkest times. And we must do this. This is why I created Chronic Babe in the first place. Because if you don't maintain that gratitude, if you don't keep an eye on what you do have and maintain some kind of perspective, you will feel alone. And none of us needs to feel alone in this struggle that we live. Even when things feel like they're falling apart, you are not alone if you choose to use the resources at hand. What do you think? Do you agree? If so, give me the thumbs up down there, okay? Thank you for watching today. I am so glad to be back here with you this week. I would love to hear what you do during times of crisis, so share your strategy in the comments below or head over to the blog at chronicbabe.com and join the conversation. And if you liked what you saw today, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch another video that I picked for you right now. I think you're gonna like it. All right, babes, I'm so happy to be back. Until we meet again, go out there and be as well as possible. Be AWAP. Mwah. Psst. The Secret Club is one of my most popular offerings and I'm so proud of it. For $25 a month, you get membership in a private discussion group with like-minded women who are learning how to be chronic babes and really kicking ass and taking names in spite of being sick. You get tons of coaching and support materials, chances for live Q&As and support from me, and lots of opportunities to learn, and we have a lot of fun. So join us, won't you? Beep. I'm back. I can't, that's not what I'm looking for. Each month, I can't talk.